I'm absolutely loving how fresh this anime feels, but also very familiar all in the process. We are now 4 weeks into this anime, and they haven't relied on shocking elements surrounding gore or, holy shit, we didn't see that coming, a character's completely dead, but rather it's all been the slow burn of it, and just seeing where this story really wants to go, and this time around, it's a lot more personal and to the point of what is going on with Ui, Tamaki's missing friend slash sister, and like where do they want to go with this, and what the hell is Small Cube? Probably the most interesting thing this season to me. Why the hell is there a Small Cube, and why does it pop up every so often? I have no idea, but that's really fun to think about. And this week's episode, it kind of brings the three central characters of this season together, at least based on certain anime tracking sites, which is Tamaki, Yui, and Nanami. And I like how all three of them are very, very different. You have one who's very cold and you almost would say emotionless, but clearly cares, but hides her emotions quite well. One who's full of energy and is all about the cooking and what you think of it, and hell, even if you only give her 50%, that's good enough. And then, of course, we have Tamaki, who is very kind of like, she's very passionate, she's very emotional, but she also hides it in an interesting way. She almost feels like the in-between of these two characters, and I think seeing them really trying to find this shrine in this episode was a great way to really bring the central cast together and see what they could look like both in battle, which we get a glimpse of, but also in the more slice of life or just general life scenes. And that was really fun. Like, I really appreciate the idea of rumors and how with last week we had the friendship staircase where, you know, friendship is over party and things like that, and now we have this like shrine that can even bring people back from the dead. And I like how in the world of magical girls in this anime, you can have things that seem so perfect, and it all relates back to the main theme of this anime, which is the cost of a wish. What are you really willing to pay for doing something that can actually happen? And I thought it was very interesting having this tale about basically lovers that had this forbidden love and a fiancé who killed them in rage, and how basically you prayed for so many days and nights and eventually your prayers were answered, but bringing back someone from the dead is like one of the ultimate sins from basically across all of history. It's like one of the biggest taboos people say, even if you could do it, never do it. It's like this grave, horrible sin, and it's going to cost a hell of a lot. And rather than it being on the actual reviving and maybe it being a zombie, you basically had to kill an entire town just for that one person. Is that really worth it? And I thought it was interesting because it definitely made me think about Tamaki and the idea of like missing Ui. Like, what is that going to cost? Is it just someone you can't see, or are they actually dead? Are they erased from existence? Like, what's going to be the cost to actually find you? And I like how it kind of tied into that story and how both Nanami as well as Tamaki have someone that they're searching for, or at least want to see again. And it's quite interesting to see at the end of the episode to see where they ended up, and how we have our girl Yui just kind of like fighting off, being like, it's okay, I'm powerful, I can survive. And I'm thinking episode 3 of the original anime, just flashback, I'm like, yeah, powerful characters don't always win, so please don't get overconfident, because I actually like your personality a hell of a lot, and I don't need a repeat of Mommy in the original anime. So I'm really enjoying this, I have to say. I thought that the way they structured this episode, it both felt unnatural and unnerving, as if, holy shit, at any moment something bad is going to happen. And when you see characters casually grocery shop, of course you know they're probably going to be a witch at some point in time, and if not, probably on the way home, and to no surprise, there absolutely was. I'm actually really digging how they're incorporating a lot more basic moments, because with the original anime, you kind of had basic, but at the same time, it just kind of went insane to the point where you couldn't even keep track, and there was never really any time for basic situations. And the fact that things haven't completely spiraled out of control as of yet, it actually allows for these very mundane scenes to kind of feel wholesome, but still have that Shaft style that they're always playing with perspective. So even if there is no threat, they're always warping things, they're always changing things, and they always make things ominous, so you never truly know when something is going to pop up, which is a really big strength for the anime. Rather than it being predictable, like, okay, we already know the hand that's been dealt, we know when something bad's going to happen. No, with Madoka, it's hard to predict because the anime always looks unnatural, unnerving. It's both beautiful but creepy. I mean, just look at the first, 5 minutes of the episode. There's an OST playing that literally is like a carousel soundtrack. Like, it's something from a carnival. It just feels so welcoming, but so like you kind of want to run away and go to a different amusement park. I love how both the music and the overall sound direction mixed together with the visual presentation, it kind of brings out an atmosphere that you never know where it wants to go, and it almost feels like it's always deep in the corners of your mind, trying to mess with your brain, either as a troll-like moment or something trying to make you feel like you're in a nightmare. And I like how this episode was kind of building up to just one central theme, are all looking for someone, and how this idea that only at night will it appear, and if you basically say, I want to meet this person, you kind of get sucked into a seemingly like witch world, but like, what's going to be the cost here? Because based on the story, you had to kill an entire town to get your loved one revived. We don't even know where Ui went. We don't know, is she dead? Is she alive? Is she just invisible? Like, what's going on? And then we don't even totally know with the other girl what happened there. So, like, what's gonna be the cost? Do they have to kill each other? Do they have to kill someone else? Are they going to have to sacrifice an arm and a leg? You don't totally know when something like this pops up. Because even if you get something magical to happen, as we see, the cost of a wish, it's never going to pay off. You shouldn't try to take things into your own hands by using supernatural means. You have to just kind of face life head on. And I don't know where they want to go with that. Will they be able to escape this little realm that they're a part of without fully succumbing to basically the desires of these witch and this spiritual being? Or are they going to have to sacrifice something? And if all three of them get out alive, unscathed, like unharmed, and nothing totally bad happening, I'll be pretty shocked, but I wouldn't be disappointed in the slightest. Similar to last week, we all kind of assumed the worst was going to happen, but it's kind of refreshing, I have to say, that walking into this anime, I thought it would be brutal, it would be gruesome, and I still expect there is going to be times where it is, but I like how I can never truly know where it wants to go. And I'm sure whenever we get something that's truly shocking, like, holy shit, did they really just do this? Or did they really just break a character mentally like this? I'm sure it's going to blow me away. But the fact that I can't accurately predict it, because I truly was expecting, and I know it sounds weird to say, walked into last week's episode, oh yeah, character dying. No character dying? Alright, I don't know where it's going, but it's like, no, it's gotta come in episode 4. And I like how it's not popping up. And I know there's some people who are watching this anime saying it doesn't feel as interesting as the original because it's not as shocking. But that's a good thing. This could easily just feel like fan service for the original anime, where it just hits all the same notes, but it's different characters and a different coat of paint, but really it's the same thing. But the fact that they're not going just full in blood and just destruction and despair, but rather doing that slow burn narrative approach so we don't really know when it's going to pop up is the optimal way to make this anime amazing. Had they just gone completely brutal every episode, just completely killing or shocking us, we'd have the complaints of it being too familiar and too edgy. So, like, there's never going to be pleasing everyone. Everyone's always going to feel like they are the masterful writer that they can do no wrong. But really, I don't see why this would be an issue for this anime, because rather than it feeling like just some spin-off of the original anime of feeling like it's the same thing we've already seen, it actually feels like a fresh and new idea in the setting of magical girls in Madoka Magica, which is what should happen. If you're going to make anime in this world, do something new, do something interesting, but keep the fundamentals that we love about the anime. And based on the visuals, based on the killer soundtrack and voice acting, they're doing the key elements that this series needs to have while also telling character stories in a completely new and fresh setting, and actually giving me time to connect with characters more than a couple of episodes being like, oh yeah, this is definitely going to be my favorite character, and then I'm just sitting there with my jaw on the floor like an idiot being like, well, now who's going to be my favorite character? Now I can actually feel comfortable saying, you're my favorite character, Yui. I really like your personality. And yeah, Yui could die next week. Yui could die in 3 episodes. I don't know, but I just am happy to say, like, when I really like a character, I'm actually feeling like I'm getting to understand them on a pretty deep-rooted level. So, like, when bad things happen, and even if no bad things happen, it just feels like this is such a creepy atmosphere that it's really doing a great job at feeling like Madoka, but also feeling like Record at the same time. Like, it kind of feels like it's a new anime, but a familiar anime. And I think this show is doing far more right than wrong. I really don't have anything that I kind of look at over the past 4 episodes and say, I kind of wish this was different. Like, honestly, all the characters that have been brought up, there's a lot of characters so far that have been introduced, either as main or side/supporting characters. And they all have memorable personalities in some capacity, and the fact that they're actually being explored as people rather than just some magical girl that needs to get their head cut off is a really refreshing feeling, because the way they're exploring this story, it definitely feels more personal, as if they're more than just mindless fodder to get killed or just be mentally broken to the point of no return. It's really refreshing, and I think it's going to make when bad things happen all the more painful, because we're going to have far more time to explore with them than maybe some of the characters in the original anime, such as my favorite character in the original anime. I'm still not over that, it's been years, but I love it for that reason. I just thought this was a great episode. I think combined with last week and just the idea of rumors, there's just such an interesting atmosphere going on with this season that I don't totally know where they want to go next week, but also I have my theories and speculations, but at the same time, they're never going to play out exactly how I'm predicting, so it's always a guessing game of where it's going to go next. But this was great. It was very personal. It was cute and funny. I mean, look at some of the food that they were eating in this episode. In a lot of ways, I thought they were building up to this anime being a cooking show all along. It's just a really fun show. What can I say? I love it, I want more of it, and I can't wait for next week. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. For game players, anime originals like myself, what do you think? Be sure to also like the video if you did enjoy, and also hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.